Hey guys, it's Bros here, and today I'm going to be going over my settings and Rocket Racing binds with you all. Rocket Racing is a pretty technical game, and having good settings and keybinds goes a long way for this game. And I'm going to be honest, the settings that Epic gives you as the default settings really are not that good. So today, I'm just going to help you guys out here with getting some better settings and keybinds, and without further ado, let's look at the settings here that I got. So first thing that I should note is that I do play on Xbox Series X, so I'm locked in at 120 FPS or 60 FPS. Now, obviously, any time you can get a higher frame rate, you should go for it. Most of you guys are going to be on PC, so I'd recommend just seeing how high of a frame rate your PC can comfortably run. Yeah, with that, let's go to the game settings. These are the first important settings that we'll talk about here. And the first one that we are going to talk about is invert airborne controls. Now, by default, this setting is turned on. I have it turned off. And the reason that I have this setting turned off is quite simple. Let's say that you are trying to get your car down on the ground. Now, to do that, you would be holding down on your analog stick to bring the car to the ground. But say if you have this control setting on, you would be holding down on the analog stick and then you would hold up on your stick. So you'd be going back and forth, and it's not really clean movement. So by turning this setting off, you just hold down to bring the car down, and then you're also flipping down as well. So makes that a lot simpler. Same thing if you're trying to go up. If you're trying to go up and you are have the setting on, you would have to go flipping up and down on your analog stick, and it's just kind of janky. So by keeping the setting off here, it makes it a lot smoother. Now, if you have had the setting on for a while, it's gonna take a little bit of getting used to. I'm not gonna lie. You're gonna be making a lot of mistakes. That's just part of it. But in the long run, having the setting turned off will definitely be worth it. Next here, I have my FOV minimum set to the maximum of 75 degrees, and my FOV maximum set at the lowest at 85 degrees. Now, the reason that I have my settings like this is I want my camera to move as little as possible. I'm looking at my car here, and the less that my camera moves, the better. Just keeps me more focused on the car. So that's why I have those settings like that. These settings down here, screen shake intensity, that's always have this off here. It's just very distracting and hurts your head seeing your screen shake anytime you crash. So keep that setting off. You'll thank yourself from getting headaches later on. This setting right here, I have it set to immediate. Some people have it set to default. You never want to have it on delayed or never. Those are just bad settings in general. I'm going to be honest though, I'm not 100% sure what's better between default and immediate. Uh, you may want to play around with this on a few maps that you're driving upside down on to see what setting works better for you. But I personally prefer immediate, but there isn't an exact preference here as to what is better between those two. Toggle throttle, I have this set to off. Some people have it set to on, but I think most people have it set off. Sometimes you just want to release your throttle, and having it set on and off. This is more of a preference thing, but I keep it off. Now, the last setting here is invert vertical air dodge direction. So if you really do not want to turn off your inverted airborne controls, you could turn this setting on here. And this will make your flip up, like you're holding up on your stick. That will flip you down, and vice versa. So if you really want to keep this setting on here, you could turn this setting on. I recommend turning this off and this off. But either you have both of these off or both of these on. So yeah. Let's let's see here. Next set of okay. So vibration I have turned off. There really isn't too much of a reason that I can think of to have vibration on. It just is kind of distracting for your hands and fingers, so keeping this off is good. I haven't really messed with the dead zones too much, so not really too sure what to do best there. And last but not least, let's talk about our keybinds here. We're going to go all the way down the list here, so let's start with throttle on right trigger. This is a default setting, and throttle on the right trigger works perfectly. It's like this for most other racing games to have right trigger be the throttle, so makes perfect sense here. Brake on Y. Now, you're not really going to use your brake too much in this game. There's not really a lot of upside to using your brake. It takes a long time to build your speed back up, so usually using the brake is a no-go, but you know, still having it on a face button is important. So I keep it on Y, but you're not really going to be using this much. Now, jump and thrusters. I have jump on B and thrusters on A. It is very crucial to keep these two buttons on two separate actions. So the reason for that is sometimes you just want to jump and sometimes you just want to use your thrusters. For example, if you're trying to do a B-hops here, especially with the back tire, using your thrusters while using back tire B-hops is pretty bad. So that's why it's important to keep these two on separate buttons here. Turbo, I have on left bumper. Rocket Drift, I have on right bumper. These are just really comfortable buttons here, and I just feel like it makes sense to have Drift on right bumper. I feel like a lot of games that use drifting mechanics have it on right bumper. It feels very comfortable there, and Turbo to complement that with the left bumper also makes sense. Last two we'll talk about is air dodge and air roll. By default, air dodge is on X and air roll is on left trigger, and I have these switched around. The reason for that is, let's say we are doing a speedrun start while doing, I mean, really, it could be speedrun, it could be 3-lap, both modes that technique is very useful in. When we're doing a speedrun start, we can just use X and A on one finger instead of two different fingers, and it's a lot more comfortable that way for me to do a speedrun start with just one finger. Air dodge on left trigger also works very well for me. I've had that setting for quite a while, and it just works, you know? Not really too sure what else to say about that. Last thing I will say about these binds here is that, you know, it's not an exact science. Different binds will work for different people. I will say that between these 8 buttons in particular, you are going to want every single action on at least one unique button. You have 4 face buttons, 2 bumpers, and 2 triggers for a total of 8 buttons, and there's 8 actions that are going on here. So my recommendation is to have at least 1 button per action. Now, for the rest of these binds here, all of these are default except this one right here, expand positional tracker. So let's say you're doing ranked and you're just curious to know where people's positions are at any time, especially if you're like in a big room of like really anything more than like 6 players, and you just want to know where anyone is at any given moment. By having this on your right trigger, the same button that you have your throttle on, anytime you're just holding the throttle, you're going to know exactly where people are. So this is just a preference thing again. If you find it distracting, it definitely can be. I'm not going to lie, but I like to know where people are, so that's why I have the setting turned on as it is. And yeah, those are all of my settings and all of my keybinds. I hope you found this video helpful and useful. With that being said, I hope you guys all have a wonderful day and take care. Peace.